Hi everyone, this is Joanna Filatowicz for you, and with me today for this conversation, this teaching actually is someone you know already from my previous videos with him, Shahin Jedian. Did I say it right again?
Jedian, yes.
Jedian, I'm so sorry about that. That's this extraordinary. I called you Jada one time because of your surname. I could not pronounce it well. So just like Jada with some extraordinary powers, I ask you today to reveal some ancient power of the language, because you actually are lucky to know some ancient languages. What do you think about that?
Yes, I am very blessed to be here, to be able to teach it. And I'm very blessed that I've been taught directly by amazing teachers, angels, and dreams, an amazing adventure that just led to me kind of getting this revelation of angels and language of angels and language of the light. So I'm grateful for that. Thank you.
That's fantastic. You see, I just got inspired like a day before by Greg Braden, who actually had a translation in original language, a Holy Father prayer. And it's one of the most powerful, whether you do that in Latin, in Polish language, in English language, it's pretty powerful prayer. And those who are using that power, they say it's very, very helping them to go through a difficult time. And since we are in apocalyptic, let's say times, or reset or crisis or whatever is going to happen right now, I thought that it would be cool to bring the original language of that Holy Father, but I think you have something to say here, because I wanted to ask you, hey, can you translate for us Holy Father? So we have this powerful ancient wording that we can feel, we can see if we resonate with.
Awesome. That's great. Yes, this is great. And I'm very excited that you actually get inspired daily for these amazing ideas to share at this level. So that's how I get excited, because you get excited. I'm like, yes, if she's so excited to share it at this level, so then we definitely going to do it. And so we did this spontaneously today. We were supposed to actually have a conversation about when we want to do it, set up dates for it, but now we just hopped onto the Zoom, because that's the beauty of a spontaneous thing. And tonight happens to be an actually amazing night, because we're about to transition from the lunar month of Sagittarius to the lunar month of Capricorn, which is transferring the sign of fire element into Earth, which is total manifestation. So this is actually where many of the misunderstandings of the Father and the Son, and the Father and the Son and the Holy Ghost, and how people understood it came from. What happened is, during this time, this night and the next few nights, all the way till December 21st, actually this year, because of the connection between Jupiter and Saturn, one of the greatest things happening since 1226, the year 1226 in the Hebrew years from creation. One of the greatest things that occurred is that since 800 years ago, is that Jupiter and Saturn are going to merge together, which means that the fire element is going to finally manifest itself in the Earth world. Right? Meaning that the space between thought, idea, energy, and soul and matter will be removed. Now, the great thing is, well, you're like, well, I could remove it myself. I've been like doing a lot of manifestation, but we're going to have massive assistance from the universe, so that the space, the illusion of that space will no longer exist in a big way anymore. Right? Is that a good understanding of it?
Yes. So, I understand that also, that we can manifest things faster. So we have to be very careful what we are thinking about.
Yes, we have to be careful what we think, because it happens. You're so right. Yeah. And so that's the earth element. That's the Capricorn. We also know Capricorn is a very powerful sign in the earth element. For those who especially get the spirit connected with the earth sign, it becomes very manifestative, kind of powerful, so to speak. So now, I don't want to go off the subject, but this actually relates to what we're going to talk about, about the confusion of what happened with the Father, right? What happened with the Holy Ghost? What happened? In Hebrew, we say...
Was it corrupted?
Because so what happened with all that, right?
You mentioned something. Sorry to slow it down a little bit. Are you there?
And so... Yeah, I'm here. I just wanted to actually bring on some slides that have definitely related to the idea of the Father for a moment, and to connect with it, and to kind of go through and zip through some of the understandings and misunderstandings. Okay, so here's the first prayer. It says the Lord's Prayer. Our Father in heaven, hallowed be thy name, or be your name. Your kingdom come, yours will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us today our daily bread, and forgive us our debts. We also have forgiven our debtors, and lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from the evil one. So this is from Matthew, the New Testament. And we know that one of the things that that occurred is that the translation, when the translation occurred from the Hebrew language and the Aramaic language, which was the original language of both Moses, Aaron, Jesus, Rabbi Akiva, Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, Rabbi Akiva and Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai and Jesus all lived in the same generation. Rabbi Akiva, by the way, Jesus was not the only one that was held at the cross. Rabbi Akiva was skinned alive, and he was the greatest Kabbalist, the teacher of all of them, who later on, Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, was able to hide in the cave and preserve the Zohar for all of us, which was partially Jesus' intention to teach us the deeper secrets of Kabbalah, but he never got to really manifest it. This is why everyone is trying to celebrate the month of December as a manifestation month. We know from the Hebrews that from the Hebrew ancient teachings, from the original teachings, we know that Jesus' birthday is not even December, he's a Pisces. And many people that come to the world to help are Pisces, including Moses, Joseph in the Bible with the Pharaoh, where he helps the entire country of Egypt and the world. Many of those, that is their final incarnation, they're Pisces, and so was Jesus. So the misunderstanding of December birth and Jesus is not about his birth. It's about the birth of all of humanity being able to turn fire element into earth element manifestation. And so therefore we become the Son of God when we can manifest that which the Creator intended for us. And as a result, we become matter, because we'll matter more in this world, because matter means manifestation, where you actually can matter, where you actually can physically matter also. We all matter at the level of soul, but the problem is in this physical world where the challenger and the Satan, that satanic force, or so to speak, that God created to challenge us, or the opponent, needs for us to be able to quarrel in the physical world and overcome temptations, overcome the gravitational pull of Earth, become the master of our own, captain of our own ship. And as a result, we'll matter more to ourselves, which means eventually we'll matter also in terms of being able to truly own the ability to overcome our detachments and own our soul, instead of become just a physical body, like sort of like a stuck, attached physical body. So I want to go into some of these symbolic things because Joanna brought it to my attention that it's really powerful to describe them and go through them. So the prayer we just looked at, again, if you look, our Father in heaven, okay? Now our Father in heaven already denotes that we're detached, but essentially is our Father in heaven really? So I want you to think about that, right?
So was that correct, that prayer? Is that the translation exactly from Hebrew?
Okay, so here, okay, so since, well, we might need more than 30 minutes for this. Okay, but
okay.
You always do this. Okay, so
I want to understand, because, for some people, I actually didn't know, is Aramaic a Hebrew also? Because
is Aramaic a Hebrew language? Okay,
yeah.
So, well, we'll hop onto that chart for a minute just to show that.
Similar,
let's look at the word. Let's look at the word ahava, right? This is the word ahava, which in Hebrew it means love. Okay, ahava, and you see it written love, ahava, ahava in Hebrew. Now the word ahava is a Hebrew word, but the root of the word comes from an Aramaic word. Aramaic and Hebrew are intertwined because they're both written the same way and they have similarities, except one difference, that the entire Bible, the Old Testament, only has one or more, very few, I think only one Aramaic words in it. The rest of it is all biblical Hebrew. Now, why is that? The reason for this is because the original serpent, that was the opponent to Adam and Eve. And this is taught in the book of Raziel, which is another book that I've discussed before, on how to tap into the energy secrets of the angels and how to get the angels to actually work with you. So the Aramaic language, it comes from the word ramai, which means trickery, or the Torah codes, the quantum codes, explores the original serpent as a very smart and diplomatic creature, right? And it used to stand and walk until it caused the downfall of the Adam and Eve. After that, he would crawl. Okay, so the idea is the word ramai or Aramaic comes from the word trickery or bypass. Okay, now you can use trickery for evil intentions, but you can also use trickery or bypassing to trick the opponent in order for you to do good things, right? So it's almost like, imagine if criminals are coming to kill you and you trick them to think that you live in a different street, so to speak, right? And they can't find you, right? So the idea is that we want to bypass the negative vibrations so that they don't attach or latch onto us. And we want to connect with the higher vibrations. And one very powerful way to do that since the time of creation, way to do that is the Aramaic language. That's why we're teaching it today. And it is intimately connected with the Hebrew language. The entire Zohar, that which Jesus taught, was trying to teach at least, that which Moses passed on to Joshua, that which Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai held in a cave for 12 years and eventually waited 2,000 years for it to be revealed. By the way, the last time Jupiter and Saturn were together in conjunction at that level was the year 1226, and the Zohar was revealed for the first time in writing to mass public. So just so you know how powerful that is, this time that we're heading as technology and the age of Aquarius comes together, and there's obviously a lot of pollution and negativity that people will want to take advantage of this much energy coming in unconsciously without even knowing it, So now back to the main subject, we have this powerful language. And if we explore the language, if we understand the language, we could do a lot with it. And today, because of Joanna's focal point, NU Mal KEI, our Father, our King, right? We're going to go into this. So just to break through, what does it mean, our Father, our King? So the word in Hebrew for father is Av, okay? Av is the first two letters of the Hebrew alphabet. Aleph, Bet, spells Av. Now, Av is the same word you will find also in Ahava, which is love. It's the first and the third word in Ahava. It means love. And the word Ahava, love, also has the root word Hav, which means to give. In other words, in order to truly explore love, you must become a person of giving, because without giving, you will not make room. But every time you give from yourself, you're investing a part of you in another person. So as a result, who do you really get to love when you love another person, right? You're really investing a part of you in them, so you must get to love them, right? Isn't that amazing? So the word ahava comes from the word giving.
Because so much more. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but this is amazing because it's just a translation of the word love. But in that word, in Aramaic language, it consists of giving. We don't have that in language like Polish. You don't have that in English language. That's amazing for me.
Correct. And that's great that you're noting that. The language itself builds your spiritual culture. The language itself changes your subconscious way of thinking. The language itself connects you with the angelic force and the vibration. So that's a very important point, as you said, Joanna. And that's why I love teaching this language. This is why I love focusing on it. So the language is the meditation for getting closer to those vibrations. So the word Hav means giving. And then it has the word Av in there, which means father, right? And also the numerical value of the word Ahava adds up to the number 13, which also the numerical value of unity, which is Echad in Hebrew, adds up to the number 13. And unlike other teachings, the number 13 is not a negative number. In the Hebrew language, the number 13 is actually one of the holiest numbers. And through satanic forces, actually the number 13 was turned upside down so that it should look like a negative number to some people, so that people should not access its high vibration. It's almost like 1 billion pounds of diamond is buried somewhere and someone doesn't want you to know about it, so they tell you, oh, that's the worst place, there's a bomb that'll explode, don't go there, right, so to speak. So it's like, I always say, like, you know, when people explode, when people take a bomb and do like they become a martyr and explode themselves, what do they really want? And I always say that when I teach about sacred sexuality, I always say that what they really want is they want to explode with a massive, incredible, godly orgasm. But since they can't have that, they use other lower versions of that and explode themselves, right? It's a subconscious attempt. We want to explode with happiness, but when we can't reach that unconsciously, many people choose alternative ways to get a high and to create excitement. Okay, so I'm going to pause for a moment because I want Joanna to kind of lead me to the direction, because I'm
yes,
sure
I know you. Yes, of course, everything what you're saying is interesting, and we are going to get to that. That angelic, I'm making actually here notes. I want us to get into how to make angels listen to us, really, how to make a connection. But then another video, if someone wants, please write in comments. So we will get to that. It's very, very interesting. For today, my main purpose for today, it was to get to the power of the vibration of the word. Because you see, if I have, what was that name? Avaha?
Ahava, correct.
Ahava. So when
Ahava.
you were talking, I was thinking like Ahava. I was feeling what it does to me when I'm speaking the vibration. For example, I don't mind any names. Like I was reading names of gods in a different religion. And I can tell you this, when I was in Morocco and everybody was saying Allah, and I felt the vibration of the word Allah. I don't know what it means exactly. I know it's just the name of God. The similarity in Hebrew or Aramaic, it was something like similar. It was Allah.
Yeah.
It was similar.
It is.
Now,
there is a similarity.
Yeah. But the interesting part is it sort of reminds me a little bit of runes, also the ancient alphabet of runes, because, well, maybe it's not that ancient runes, but when the vibration with these words are connected, like you say, this word love has to offer something. Like when you think in Aramaic and you think love, you think about giving. When we think love in English language, in German language, in Polish language, everyone has different connotation. I think the more languages we know, the better our exploration of the language, the different vibration. I think differently in Polish. I think differently in English. It does to me different things when I'm focusing on something. So the same thing is here. That's why I wanted to step a little bit backwards and digest it slowly, how important that is to know, understand the one single word, God, and the prayer, that what prayer we can use if the Heavenly Father was corrupted in a way. Can you tell us why? Can you tell us what is the main prayer that directly connects you to the source of everything, whether you call it God, whether you call it Allah, or I don't know what your religion people are somewhere there. I respect any force that you are praying to or connecting to, and make the best version of yourself and your community. So, you know.
Yes. And, you know, in the ancient quantum Torah codes, all the names of God are respected and they create connection. And we also know that from a Kabbalistic teaching, we don't have the word commandment. Instead, we have the word connection. So we don't have 10 commandments. We have 10 utterances. Wow. Okay.
I have chills when I'm hearing that, because it changes completely everything.
It changes everything, right? That's right. The corruption occurred because it turned into a duty and commandment, right? And so now, you know, one of the things that occurred during the time of Jesus, Yeshua, right? Yeshua was a disciple of Rabbi Yeshua ben Parachia, who he was learning all the names and codes of God and the angelic codes. And somewhere along the way, his connection with his teacher changed, and he went on his own path. Okay, so somewhere along the way, when he went on his own path, he had deep, intimate knowledge of these Kabbalistic teaching that he had learned from Rabbi Yeshua ben Parachia, which is all written about in the Talmud, right? And along that path, there were many other Kabbalists. And Yeshua decided, the original Yeshua, we're not talking about the one that the books talk about. We're not talking about the translations of the book of Matthew and the Gospel of Thomas, all those things. Those are just translations. We don't really, those are not dating back to the actual Hebrew original versions of it. So that's part of why we have so much corruption. Like, you know, about what does the word Father mean? What does the word Father in heaven mean? What does the word Golgotha mean? Did you ever hear of the word Golgotha? Right?
No.
I don't know if no. Okay. You know, what is the word? What is the cross? Like, why is the cross?
Yeah, why is the cross?
Why is it so important? Where did it come from? Right? And if you ever looked at this Sefrot, I think I should put a picture of it right now. Hold on.
That would be fantastic. I hope, guys, we're gonna get to that prayer, but this is so interesting because I think they're a little bit.
I know we have to kind of like, we might have to do a second service.
We're gonna give that prayer, Shahin. You're gonna give that prayer.
We will, but we have to give the philosophy. Otherwise, the prayer is not going to be. It's not going to sink in like, you know, the way it's supposed to, and then people are going to revert back to the original non-deep version. So this is called the Sefrot. Okay, everything is interconnected here. This is called the Sefrot, and the Sefrot are the main teachings of the Kabbalah, and this is what Jesus was trying to teach. This is what Moses taught and passed down. This is what Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai held in the cave for 12 years. The Sefrot is the 10 dimensions of reality, the 10 curtains that hold back the light of the Creator from directly hitting us in order for us to first get ready for it, to be able to make it palatable. Right? So you have Keter, Chochmah, Binah, Da'at, Chesed, Gevurah, Tiferet, Netzach, Hod, Yesod, Malchut. The 7 lower ones are the 7 chakras, and then there's the 3 upper ones, which the Kabbalah deals with, that the chakra system does not directly deal with. Now, if you look at the Sefrot, they have all the letters of the Hebrew alphabet in there too, and there's an intertwining, and they're a perfect parallel of what's going on with the health of the body at the same time, which we're not going to go into right now. Now, why am I mentioning this? I want you to look at what, see if you could find the cross in here for a moment.
That's why you brought it up.
Right?
Okay. So because I'm going to go ahead
and highlight it for you just for a second, so you can kind of see it.
Here, but there is a different cross. It looks like a gable.
Look.
But there is a cross. Okay. Yeah, there is. Yeah, you're right.
That's
about
right.
That.
So the cross is a decapitated version of the Sefrot because of the intrusion of Rome. Okay. So the cross is the decapitated, martyr, sacrificed version of how to truly connect with the ultimate Sefrot. Okay. Now, what's left with the cross is that you're only left with Trinity. You're only left with the right, left, and up without the body of it becoming manifest. And this is why December 21st is so important. And this is why the Jupiter in Hanukkah meeting Saturn on the 7th night, starting all the way to December 21st, brings all of these ancient teachings of Judaism, Christianity, Quran, all of it together. Okay. The idea was they were never separate because there was never any religions. Originally, there was only the teachings of the light through Adam and Eve. Later on, it turned into all these religions because that's also from the light. It was the only way to preserve the body until the inner light can shine again, right? It's kind of like hypnotism. You know,
I need to ask you about something here. Sorry, slow it down a little bit.
Okay.
That Sefrot, it looks like a tree of life. It looks like this tree in also tarot cards. And the connections between them, what I'm seeing from here, what I'm perceiving also, also different direction, like all of these parts have to come together. It's like all the stars have to come to the right constellation in order to achieve or meet God or whatever the source is. Is that correct? Does that has this meaning I'm feeling from it?
It absolutely actually includes all the zodiac in there. All the letters of the Hebrew alphabet, each one represents one of the planets, which Abraham in the Book of Formation talks about before even the Torah, the Old Testament or the New Testament was even taught. Absolutely. Like, for example, the letter Tzaddik refers to the month of Aquarius. It's this one right here.
Can you point it really?
Yeah,
which one?
There you go. I'm pointing here with that.
Tiferet.
Yes, you can add the Tzaddik. Tzaddik represents the month of Aquarius, for example. The Chet represents the month of Cancer, okay? And on, each one. The Nun represents the month of Scorpio, which is about prevention of spiritual falling, because Scorpio can go really up or really down, and it's connected to Yesod, the sacral chakra, the sexual chakra. Yes, the Lamed is connected also to that, the Libra. The Lamed represents the Libra and Venus, and so on and so forth. The Pei also represents Venus. The Lamed represents the month of Libra. The Pei represents Venus itself. As you can see, if you knew the Hebrew language, you would see that there's an internal bet in there, a B, for blessing inside the letter Pei, to let you know that the hidden blessing is once you can override the lust of Venus. Okay, so there's all of this secret codes, which I can't go into all of them right this minute.
We can, because I want to already ask about which is the different zodiacs here and different planet, what is corresponding with that. But just to get a main idea, because the 21st of December is Saturn and Jupiter coming to one constellation. Which one is that?
Here's Jupiter. This is Jupiter, the Gimel. Okay.
Okay.
And so Jupiter is you can see it's right under Bina, which is the third eye, or the deeper dimension. Okay, and it represents the connection between it represents expansion. It represents the bigger picture, telescopic view. And if you could see, Jupiter connects Bina to Gevura. It connects the third eye to Gevura, which is framework, and the angel Gabriel. And that's where the connection is going to occur, and that brings it down all the way to the lower dimensions, all the way to Malchut, which is manifestation. Okay. But it is a left column energy, as you can see. You can see it's on the left. And what that means, anything that's on the left, it means that it's on the left of the Trinity, right? Yeah, go ahead.
Is that female side because it's on the left side?
It is the receiving female side. It is the judgment side also. Anything that involves receiving is judgment. So judgment is not bad or good, because the moment I receive something, what do I do right away? I evaluate it, right? The moment that's why the receiver is always in a less loving state than the giver. Because the receiver is always the one judgmenting on the entitlement of what they're receiving, right? They always have to analyze if what they're receiving is good enough, which means they, in a way, there's a suffering involved, right? Now, it's absolutely wonderful to receive, but only when you're actually conscious that as you're receiving, you have to remain grateful, right?
Perfect. Yes, that explains a lot. We're going to get to that another time. But also that tree of life, it's also in India. It's like when you mentioned, like all these religions are coming together. They have all connotation. The Bina is the third eye. That, of course, I saw it with the different names. In India, in Sri Yukteswar teachings, there was exactly that tree, just the different names. And in the end was this sad also that the God in its final core, it was representing a good and evil. It was a perfect harmony of that.
Yes, yes. And there is a difference between the Kabbalistic teachings and Hinduism and Sanskrit and other teachings. Kabbalistic teaching deals with three-column energy, which means that yin, yang, and central column. This is the power of Jacob and Israel. That is a special power that was given to those who raise into this consciousness, where they can have yin, yang, and central column. What does that mean? That means not just the ability to move away from physicality so that you can remain holy, but to actually transform physicality into holiness.
It's interesting. I don't know if the Hinduism doesn't have that, but it doesn't mention that, because all we know, like the Tao, this yin yang, it's only two elements. Well, there is the wholeness of that, but I love that idea of the column, because this is what I'm standing for, the golden middle, you know, the common sense.
The golden middle, the balance, that's right.
The balance that is in between. You can look at
it is a gift that Jacob received from the angel he wrestled with, right? When he wrestled with that angel all night long, at the end, he asked the angel of death, he said, what is, we talked about this, I think before, what is your essence? How do you operate? What's your name, right? And the angel of death responded, my name is, why is it that you ask my name, right? So in other words, his response was that I, the angel of death, that you, Jacob, overcame, I am the one that makes you never ask that question of where is the essence of darkness, death, and the illusion of death. I'm the one that makes you never be able to wander into it so that you can believe in death and eventually die, right? So by Jacob exploring that, he explored one very powerful idea, which was the idea of restriction. We actually are going through restriction right now. The world has spent so much time in consumerism, just, you know, grabbing whatever you can, eating whatever you can, having huge bite burgers, and just making no moment to pause and say thank you for all the things that you have, wanting more and more and more and more and more, that we've come to a place where, you know, there's been both real and artificial plagues designed unconsciously from good and evil people in order for the universe to teach us a lesson, to pause and have a moment of restriction, maybe have a day at home by ourselves, you know, and it's actually happening on the sabbatical year, the 7th year and the 49th year, called the Jubilee, which the land must rest. The Torah talks about that every 49 years and every 7 years and every 7th day. If you don't let the land rest, then the earth will have judgment on you and will want to rest on its own. So we're going through that right now, right this minute, this year, as the, you know, the external world calls it COVID. Not that I justify COVID, and not that I, you know, I don't want to go into the politics of COVID, but I'm just saying there is an very I'm not going into that direction.
I'm going right back into Shahin. What is the main powerful prayer in Aramaic Hebrew that we can use right now? Is there something like Heavenly Father? Something.
Okay, great. So we
let's
said
do
that.
this.
Okay, so when we say the words NU Mal KEI, our Father, our King, what we're really saying, listen well on this because this changes everything.
Okay.
Everything Jesus wanted to teach, and everything Moses wanted to teach, and everything all prophets ever wanted to teach was this point here, which got misunderstood, and it turned into idol worship, human worship, and attachment and codependency, and worshiping of human sacrifice, and worshiping of martyrship. Okay, this is the thing. This area right here, you see that I'm circling? Can you see that? This area is called Avinu, our Father, which means the 99% reality. The 99% zero and pin, the revelation of the true metaphysical world, because consciousness dictates reality. Now, this area here represents Malkeinu, Malchut. As you can see here, it's written Malchut actually, right? And Malchut means the world of manifestation, self-mastery in the physical world, okay? So when we say our Father, our King, or our Father in heaven, our Father is the 99% reality.
So it's a consciousness.
It is a consciousness of tapping into the 99% reality. Because what happens to the person that doesn't have a father, right? Father passed away. Where do they go, right?
Exactly.
So, or what happens to the person that they're considered their father, you know, something not physical? What happens to the person that doesn't even like their father, right? So the point is that it's not about just your father, although a person's father and mother deliver that gift of love and restraint and discipline to a person, but we're referring to the upper triad of the Sefrot and the lower triad. And this is where everything gets messy with Jesus. This is where Jesus was trying to teach this correctly, but the misunderstanding occurred. Okay, and it's very important to understand this, that the word Yeshua, which means salvation, is also a corrupted word. Yeshua comes from the word, well, we're not going to go into that right now, but essentially it means connecting upward directly to...
Okay. Yeah, we're going to get to that later. Yeah, the Yeshua for the next time, but...
Yeshua for the next time. So,
means consciousness, and you please repeat that once again. The consciousness is 99%, so it creates reality. It creates the matter.
That's right. So this is the hard part for us to get, because we have so much certainty. We have so much certainty in chaos that it makes it difficult for us to have certainty in the 99% reality.
Yeah, of course. Of course. Okay. How many people today, they manifest really what they think.
Right. So we're manifesting chaos because we have more certainty in chaos than fulfillment and the 99% reality. So every time we say our Father in heaven or our Father, our King, what we're really saying is we're connecting with the upper triad of the 99% reality where the true energy is. And we want that to become one with the world of Malchut, which is the world of manifestation, which we're heading right into by December 21st. Now, also the word Allah, Elohim in Hebrew, Allah in the Quran language, it comes from the word Elohim. If you add up the numerical value of Elohim, it adds up to the same words as Teva, which means nature. Okay? It also means some form of judgment, because nature, by definition, if you don't tap into supernature, you will be judged by nature. What does that mean? That means nature, by definition, has limitations of how much you can override nature. If you decide, the Torah codes tells us, this is actually written directly in the Hebrew Bible, the Old Testament. It says, Im halachta iti bekeri, if you behave with me, God tells you that if you behave with me as if you're only dealing with nature, then I will make nature be your master. Right? Okay. Now the word keri,
because the whole witchcraft was based on nature and elements.
Yes. Yes. And so the word keri, im halachta iti bekeri, keri is kuf resh yud. It's written like K-E-R-I. And in Hebrew, it's a very strange word, because keri means careless, so to speak, or by accident, or you act like everything has just happened to me. I didn't make it happen, right? And it's also is the same word when the Talmud wants to describe a person who released semen without knowing, like it just happened without them being conscious of it, or someone who's just lustfully throwing around semen all over the place without directing it with intention, with orgasmic, to give another person pleasure, without directing it towards either creating a life or creating orgasmic pleasure towards the spirit. That person is also called Baal Keri, a person who is just basically accidentally throwing around life, so to speak. And the idea is not about not having pleasure, it's about actually having the utmost pleasure. So when in the Creator's eyes, when you have less than the ultimate pleasure, you're actually, from the Torah's perspective, that's what the corrupted word sin really is. A sin is when you have less pleasure from the ultimate divine light than you're supposed to have.
So sin, it's a wasted pleasure.
Yeah, it's a waste of ultimate pleasure. It's when you cut the pleasure because you don't have restriction to maintain it, to go to a higher level, you cut it halfway, and as a result, you don't build enough light. An example of that is during intercourse or during lovemaking, two people can go on for hours if they have the right foreplay, the right connection, the right lovemaking, the right before and after, during, outside the bedroom, right? When it's like a 24-hour foreplay, all the things you're doing with each other. But when once you begin to have that, then your actual bedroom sensation changes. Imagine a man and woman that are like making love, and instead of just being focused on the end results, they're constantly playing for hours in bed, right? They get to the height of orgasm and they go back again without necessarily ejaculating, so to speak. They get to the height of it, and then they calm down and breathe deep again, and then they bring it to all the different Sefrot in the body, all the different chakras. And they do this for hours. Now, what happens is you now develop control over your most base desires, but that's not the reason you're doing it. You're doing this restriction because you want to actually have more explosive pleasure by building the energy all throughout your body, right? Which is the same example as the light. We said the plus and the minus and the filament that doesn't allow the lamp to touch, and it creates lasting light.
So actually that makes sense also from the building up light perspective, because you build up, maybe you have a healing purpose of that. So you add light to different parts. You call it chakra, for example, but they're also representing certain organs.
That's a very good point, Joanna.
Very healing thing, and at the same time saving that energy. Of course, you can release it.
Absolutely. That's the perfect way to say it.
That's so you took me over right now into different direction. I will get back politely to the prayer thing. Let's go back to this. What was the name? NU Mal KEI?
Yeah.
We know NU means actually my.
Okay, so let me go ahead and bring that on the screen. Let me go ahead and bring that on the screen.
NU means.
Okay, so that's great. NU Mal KEI. That's. Let me bring the writing so people can refer to it, because I think the words are key right there.
Did I say it properly? Because I have to make sure I do it for every Polish person. NU Mal KEI. Mal KEI.
Yes. So avinu, the word is avinu.
Avinu, not you. Avinu.
No, avinu, right? And Mal KEI. Okay.
Mal KEI. KEI.
That's right.
KEI. Mal KEI. Everybody heard that.
Is the screen still okay? Like, can you see?
Yes, I think we are going to see that perfectly. If you could make it just a little bit smaller, because I have no idea how on your Zoom that camera displays for you, for everyone. And I'm not also sure right now if Shahin is still with us. But let's give it a moment. And I hope he's just going to go back. For me, it's amazing. I'm waiting for Shahin right now. I would like to get that one prayer. And I really wanted to that Holy Father. I don't know why it's corrupted, but you know, in Latin, it's pretty powerful. And also, there is a lot of prayer in Polish and in English language. And yes, I think, are we back? My host is right now with me, so I hope he's back. Are you there, Shahin? Let's just give it a moment. And I hope he's going to come back to us pretty soon. If not, we are probably going to make a part 2. I am just writing to him. This is not that. I just would like to make sure that he is going to give us that prayer. So the only thing I heard was that powerful words, 2 words. And as far as I understood, so this is our Father, is our consciousness. Avenue is something that is connecting us to to earth and making us manifest. So every time, probably, I'm just thinking about it, they repeat these words. They are stating with the intention what shall be, what our consciousness want to manifest in our reality. So probably, let's try this. You send intention, you say, NU Mal KEI, and you think about things you want to manifest. We are going to find out more, of course, with Shahin if this is what he's doing. I'm just, you know, I'm just creative here. So I hope he really comes back right now, because I have no idea how to even stop this recording, because Shahin is in charge of the recording. He knows Zoom. I don't have even installed Zoom. But since I'm here right now with you, and I hope this video will serve you well and inspire you to feel the vibration of different languages. And I'm not saying that you have to say it in Hebrew or Latin. By the way, I would love to learn also the prayer in Latin and feel it. But I know one thing, that the vibration and sound, even that sound in mantras, some people say mantras, and they also have amazing results. So it's more about the sound and our connection to it, and something considering that theory about reincarnation, like we have this cell memory in our body of different past lifetimes. We may lived as part of different cultures, different languages, different religions. So just for fun of that, go ahead and try it out in different languages. Here is the Hebrew, of course, but also mantra, also the Om, Aum, as I was recently saying that in other videos, because it may awake within you some sort of memory that you may have and inspire you, or maybe clear up something that was happening within you, and maybe bring you a little bit more understanding why you were reborn as currently you are, and so on. I wished so much is he back. Yes, I was saying some conclusions here. I'm very, very glad that you are back. So I had this idea, and you tell me if I was right. So I thought that maybe we should just...
I'm so glad you continued while my system shut down for a minute. Yeah.
Because I really hope that we can finish with that prayer, and I can give it to everyone, that one prayer that we can try it out and think about vibration. So my idea was to send the intention and say this, like, my consciousness creates reality, because this is how I translate it before you have a chance to say, was I right or not? This NU Mal KEI is like, my consciousness creates reality.
My consciousness creates reality. Absolutely. And that's the simplest way to say it. That not only creates reality, it's creating it as in it, right then and moment, that moment. Yeah. You know, it's like in this moment that I'm conscious of it, it's already created. You know?
Yeah, and this is connected also, now it comes to my mind. See how it's perfect synchronicity. In the Bible, there were these words, I am that I am. And that reminds me of that. But this NU Mal KEI, it's even more precise, because like, my consciousness creates reality. And it's really hard for many of us to really believe it, because we have this chaos. Like, okay, come on. Did I created that corona? Did I created that circumstances? Did I create that, you know, police standing outside, right? And then you have these powerful words. So it can bring you back to yourself. And considering that reincarnation thing, that many of us lived probably in different cultures with different religion, when we speak in a different languages and try it out, sense the frequency of it, we may tap to our past memory from different past lifetimes, and maybe bring it, synthesize this to a new understanding. Maybe we are going to need that. So whether it's mantra or Hebrew or Latin, we may draw and connect that together with ourselves. I mean, for us, that certain things may work for us more. For some people, it can be mantra. For some people, it could be Hebrew, Aramaic. You have something more to hear, and I really would like us to get to what is that? Maybe explain.
Okay, so am I focusing right now on the Our Father, or do you want me to go into the deeper prayer?
I wanted to get to that prayer that we can repeat, and it instantly connects us with the Holy Father, sort of like a father.
So the key words were NU Mal KEI, our Father. Simply speaking, our Father, our King, or our Princess, but really deeply speaking, our connection of manifesting through the 99% reality right into the world of manifestation, which means consciousness dictates reality instantly and immediately. Okay. Now, to understand that and go deeper with that, this prayer connects with that, which is called the Anna B'Koach. Okay. So this prayer is the 42-letter name of God, which is intertwined and as a secret inside the Torah codes, right in the code of Bereshit, in the codes of Genesis. And it's the 42-letter name of God. I'm very into this because it's very intertwined also with my soul path, because I'm a 42-6 soul path. All my names, Shahin, David, Jedian, all of them add up to those 42-6 system. In fact, many of the most powerful books that I revealed happened to me also at age 42. So there's a lot of element to it. Now, this is the 42-letter name of God. I wrote a book called 42 Seeds to Bend Reality. It goes into the 42 laws of the universe and all these in-depth features. It's on Amazon for those who want to get it. And I can send you some videos if you want to message me somehow, or send a message as she will give you later the information.
We are going to leave that contact information under the video.
Okay. So now let's look at it. The first sentence is Anna, and we can repeat this meditation together. You can watch the video and learn it and repeat it together. After a while, it becomes second nature. Anna bechoach gedulat yemincha. That's the first line. Tatir tzura. On a simple level, it's basically saying, I plea with the power of your right column energy, which is sharing and love, tatir tzura. Please release that which is bound. Okay, because all of our energy and potential it's all about letting it safely feel safe to shine again, right? So that's the first line. And then we have the acronyms of that, Aleph, Bet, Gimel, Yud, Tav, Tzadik, which is about the first line. Okay. Now, this focuses on removal of sorry. Oops.
Yes, I see that.
Yes, removal of time, space, and motion, removing the negative influence of physical matter from our lives, and unconditional love. Okay, so that's the basics of that. Okay. The second line, which is, so it's a meditation and a prayer together. That's what's beautiful about this, right? The second line we're going to focus on is called Gevurah, the second column of the Kabbalistic prayer of the first 7 chakras. And Gevurah means restraint, restriction, or framework, or the angel Gabriel, right? It says Kabel, Rinat, Amecha, so Sagvenu, Taharenu, Nora. Okay. And it's saying accept, and we're really saying it to ourselves, accept, because the whole teaching of Kabbalah is accepting your awesome power, of your inner power. Accept Rinat Amecha, the joy of all the parts of your body, which we call the people, right? Because you are a nation to yourself. Your whole body, all your limbs and sinews are a nation by yourself. And then as a result, the nation to the whole world. Accept the joyous dance of your body, Sagvenu taharenu nora. And to really, I guess, enlighten us and purify us, oh awesome power of the higher light. Okay, that's what we're saying. And the acronyms come out to Kuf Rush Resh Ayin Sadi Tet Nun, which is the beginning of these letters, Kabel Rinat Sagvenu Nora. But there's a code here that the Kabbalists teach us. The acronyms actually spell Kara Satan. Rip apart Satan, or the reactive nature inside yourself, right?
That sounds almost like an exorcism.
Huh?
That sounds almost like an exorcism.
It's crazy, right?
Yeah, in some Catholic think that is sort of different language, but it's very, very similar. In exorcism, in one of the Catholic writers,
okay. Yes, there is an aspect of ripping apart the reactive nature, meaning letting it come out and really healing it so you can really get through it, because otherwise you can live with it your whole life, right? So we don't want to be living with the reactive nature our whole life. So we say Kara Satan. Let's really, really release this reactive nature, attack it, let it come out, work with it. No more hiding, so to speak. Release the shame, guilt, hiding, anger, fear.
That's beautiful what you said, because that's, yes, it's hiding. Most of the times it's hiding. It's not seen, not visible. And then you show it, you bring it up. Yeah.
Exactly. And we said that Jacob asked the angel of death to show me what's your mode of operation. And he said, well, I make things hide. My biggest trick is I don't make a rabbit disappear. I make myself disappear, right? So that's restricting the reactive system, closing the gates from Satan. Satan is time, space, and motion, by the way. And forgetting all limited thoughts. Now, this is really powerful. How do you forget limited thoughts?
Exactly.
I mean, it's one thing where you try not to remember them or focus on good things, but we're not talking about that. We're saying forget limited thoughts. How do you do that? Right? And what does that mean? And it's very, very powerful. What it means is that even though we think that there's a way to just let go of negative thoughts, there is a way to actually forget your limitations. There are times in our lives, you know, when something negative is following you. There are times where you have to like focus on the positive. Then there's times where you have to fight. And then there's times where you have to assume it's not even there. Now, why is that? That's a very powerful thing because, and we're not talking about denial here. We're talking about the reason you can assume that it's not there and it'll go away is because the reason it even got there was because you assumed that the fear is there. So we say, and by the way, there's many, just on a simple level, there's a lot of teachers of psychology, hypnosis, NLP, integrative psychology, that even that guy, what's his name? Richard Bandler, who taught NLP, he said that assuming trance is trance. Okay. What does that mean? Assuming trance is trance. It means if you start behaving like you're in trance, if you start imagining yourself that way, you get into trance, right? So consciousness dictates reality. So therefore, if you're gonna forget your limitations, they will actually be forgotten. Okay. But you have to really do it. You can't just be like, all right, I'm forgetting about you. No, you have to act, feel, see, be, act, know in a way that they're not there anymore. You're living unlimited, right? Okay. So I think that's enough of that one. We'll move on to the next piece.
Yes, please.
The next piece is we're going to go to the third line of the Ana B'Koach, which is called Tiferet. And the third line deals with number 3 right there. Tiferet means the heart center, the heart chakra. And we say Na Gibor. We again, the word Na is a special meditation. Na means go deep all the way down and bring it back up to the 50 gates of lower negativity and bring it back up. Gibor means Gevurah, the angel Gabriel. Framework, Dorshe Yichudecha, those that seek the oneness. Kevavat Shomrem, please guard them like the pupil of the eye. Okay? In other words, we're injecting certainty that those people who are deeply after the unity of the universe will be guarded like the pupil of the eye, because we know in science that the pupil of the eye is the most fastest healing, the cornea and the pupil, right? They're like, it's an amazing thing. It's guarded very well because your eyes will flip, will close anything that gets near it. And the cornea is the fastest healing part of the body. So we're saying guarded like the pupil of the eye, which means like it's the most sensitive center, but the most powerful center and the most guarded center. So this is giving you huge news, okay? Nun Gimel Dalet Yud Chaf Shin, the third line, Tiferet, it's parallel to Jacob, Yaakov, the patriarch, who represents the Tiferet, the third column energy, like I said, it's beyond yin and yang. This represents the idea that opening the channels of sustenance, retrieving the light from the klipot, removing hatred for no reason, will not only give you blessings and happiness, but if you become a channel for the light, you will get immunity towards all the things, all the problems, diseases, issues, because the channel for the light gets extra tools in order to help the world. Okay, so it might seem like simple, but it's actually very powerful because becoming like God gives you God-like powers. Now, the fourth line is called Netzach, going the extra mile. This represents Moses in the Sephirotic realm. And Netzach means going the extra mile, eternity, right? And it's the fourth dimension. And the words are Barchem Taharem. I'm going to make up a word, blessify and purify.
Okay.
Rachamei tzidkatecha, the compassion within your tzidkatecha. Tzedek means, I guess, true, correct judgment or discernment. And also it comes from the word planet Tzedek, which is Jupiter. Tamid gomlecha, gomlem, always being in the realm of expansion. Again, the word Gimel is Jupiter, right there, the big one.
You have to write it down in English so I can translate it and write it down, because it's a beautiful prayer. Even if I translate that into Polish language, the prayer, it has really cool words. And some of the people may just need the Polish version of it, because the words are very powerful when you translate it. I have no understanding of Aramaic. It's just, for me, it's melodic language, right?
Yes. Yes, true. Okay, we will do more of that, God willing. For the translation, we will put an effort in there. Maybe make a PDF of it. So, yes. Bet, Tet, Reish, Tzadik, Tav, Gimel, the acronyms of these letters that we just said. And finally, we go on to the intention, the power to persevere, the power to go forward. And Moses had that power because Moses introduced the world to that power. Every line of this is one of the patriarchs also introducing the power. Abraham introduced loving kindness, but he didn't have enough framework. Isaac introduced total framework, but he wasn't about just loving kindness. Jacob represented the balance between right, left, central, yin and yang, sharing and receiving, and the balance between the two. And finally, Moses represented going the extra mile. He took all of that with prophecy directly, having conversations with the light, standing face to face with the light, shining the light, and going the extra mile in the most difficult phases, and being available in every generation to assist us through getting into different souls. So that's the power of Moses. And Netzach also means eternity, which means overcoming death consciousness. So all of that is Moses. That's why we say Moses never died. And his burial site is one of the only teachers that we don't know where it is, even though it says clearly that he went into a grave himself. He actually wrote down, I'm now going into a grave, and then he went into it. Like, it's a funny thing because the Torah was channeled through Moses, and at one point, God tells him, now write down, you are going inside the grave and you're burying yourself, right? And he writes it down, but he hasn't done it yet, right? So he knew his future, how it's going. But again, it was only his corporal body, not his total self, which we know Moses comes back every generation to help us with these teachings through different people. Okay, so now the fifth line is about clairvoyance, and it's called Hod, or which is actually the holiday we're in, Hanukkah. Hod means total gratitude. Prophecy comes, enlightenment comes when you have absolute consciousness. You become totally consciousness of all the amazing blessings around you that you can't fall asleep anymore. You can't relax anymore. You can't be numb anymore. You're just, every moment, you're so happy from every element. You look at your finger, you're like, oh my God, the blood is still circulating, you get happy. You look at the wall and you're like, oh my God, it's standing solid, even though it's not. And you're happy because you see deeper, right? Everything starts to talk to you. Every bird starts to chirp to you.
That very similarity is in Course in Miracles. This is what's happening first to probably every student that goes to those seminars of Course in Miracles. They experience this presence. That's the first thing. And I had exactly that what you were just saying. Everything was amazing. Just the simple looking at the finger was amazing.
Yes, yes. And that's like, you know, that's the whole movement of mindfulness, where it came from, right? And the Course in Miracle, mindfulness, all these teachings, they're basically, you know, a gift to the world for those who don't yet have access to the original teachings. It's like, here you go, learn it at least in English until you get to the deeper levels of it, right? So it's like different tools and angels are just throwing things at us, at least somewhere. Please learn it, get it, come on, you know? So, and then we go to the words chasin, kadosh. Chas means, again, love, loving kindness. Kadosh. Kadosh means holy, but with a W, which means whole, not just holy. Berov, with all. Tuvcha, your goodness, the ultimate goodness, which also includes the opponent. Because the third day God created goodness, and he said this is the ultimate good. That was the day he created Satan, the opponent, in order to challenge us. And we can't really succeed without the opponent because we need the challenge. Nahel, adatecha, and let's see. I don't know the deepest level of explaining this, so I'm just going to kind of move on. But adatecha means your congregation that connects, meaning the consciousness of group consciousness, collective consciousness. So here we're talking about the fifth level Hod, which is the throat chakra, which is also the aspect of let's read it. Chuf, chet, chuf, bet, tet, nun, ayin. That's the acronym for it. And it says the clairvoyance, to be able to see the connection between cause and effect, and to see the big picture. So, you know, if we could see the big picture, things change, doesn't it? Right? If we can make decisions based on the big picture, a lot of things change. You know, like many times, I mean, you would avoid so much chaos if you could see the big picture. But why is it that we can't see the big picture? Because there's an element called time. It doesn't allow us to see always the cause and effect, and therefore we create a disconnect. And so when something good occurs or we create something good, we keep thinking, oh, like, you know, where's the connection? When did I even plant the seed, right? And when something bad happens, it's like, as soon as something good happens to you, right? All of a sudden you notice you might be involved in doing a very negative action and something good happens to you. And then you're like, wait, doing negative brings goodness. And then sometimes you're doing something really, really good and something bad happens, right? And then you're like, wait a minute, I was doing something good and something bad happened. I came to give charity and then I fell down, right? So this is what causes a disconnect, because there is a delay in time and action and reaction. And so what happens is, because we haven't got rid of the delay, we can't see the big picture. So for example, a person does a lot of good deeds And then all of a sudden one day he falls down and something happens, right? And then the day he fell down and something happens, he was actually doing a good deed. And he's like, wait a minute. So you know what? Every time I come to do a good deed, something negative happens, right? But what he doesn't realize is that negative wave that caught up with him was from a negative action from before. It just happened to catch up with him exactly when he was doing something positive, right? So now the brain mixes up positive and negative, goodness and not goodness, and doesn't know how to reward itself. So here we're getting the power.
Wait, please wait for me. Yeah. I'm trying to digest all that. This is great understanding, because what you are actually saying, this clairvoyance is where people are reading the state of consciousness when they see things, but you have still 2 to go. Still, it's not the end. And people think that this is actually it. When you are, everlasting or seeing everything like in your mind, you are arrived somewhere there. And a lot of people are talking about 5 dimension. We're going into 5 dimension, and I'm sometimes a little bit laughing. We can go in 10 dimension. I don't mind, but that is actually the best explanation. What exactly happened when you practice intentionally what you're talking about? I'm not saying that everyone should practice this in Hebrew or say it in the language, but I'm just hearing the perfect explanation when you're sending daily intention of what you're doing. I cannot repeat. You have to write it down for me, all this translation into English first, so I can maybe translate into Polish and post it somewhere. But there is this amazing things, because we can just say it in the Polish language as in English language. You said about the grace, this gratitude is how we enter this higher and higher dimension. And many Polish people told me that they don't like Kabbalah, they don't like, other religion. And it's okay. I understand that, because, we do not want to get into something that seems to be so foreign for us, or has so much bad connotation because of different things. And I totally get it. But the thing is, I'm thinking now, was it this a programming also that we need to look a little bit deeper here, because we are programmed to disregard other teachings instead of synthesize everything together and draw from every culture what is the same, similarities. We are very easy to disregard the another teaching as foreign, as bad, as evil, right?
Yes. Very accurate.
Makes sense. What you're saying here.
I mean, we're wired that way. We're human beings that are wired to see things our own way. And we're human beings that are wired to see things based on our own experiences. And we're also wired to create dissection through religion, because we were taught that. So everything you're saying is very accurate. And at the same time, I don't blame people, because we've been wired and taught that way. So we need a brand new rewiring of our brains and our hearts,
Yeah, because I heard, and it was also under the comments under your the last video I did with you, that was a Kabbalah. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to know anything about it. And there were people who appreciated it. Don't get me wrong, and they had a lot of questions. But there were those who just without understanding wanted just to push it away, because the moment you hear something is bad, something is wrong, or you have to hide things, but you also reveal things, what doesn't mean, what things are exactly meaning. And here, that
I want to tell you, Joanna, I grew up with these tools, but did you know that I ran away from it for maybe 10 years? So even though it was part of what I grew up with, I ran away from it for many, many years. And the reason I did that was because I wasn't yet ready to incorporate at that level. I wasn't ready to take it in. I was scared. I was scared that if I tune into it, my potential is going to come out so massively. And then I would have to tell my friends that I see things differently and I love this stuff. And I would have to reveal to everyone that I've changed, and change is very scary, and I would have to socially feel different, possibly hang out with different kind of people even. And it was just a lot of changes. So everyone has their challenges, but I'm just saying I've had my personal thing about even the thing that I have known about most of my life.
I'm very glad you're saying that. Okay, Shahin, let's finish that. Let's translate the last.
Let's complete this. Good.
And let's complete this, and then I will ask you to send me the full translation in English language of all of that great picture. And of course, I want the picture.
Great.
And I'm going to translate that in 2 languages so everyone can benefit the way they would like to. All right, go ahead.
Now, the 5th line, as we completed it, I want to add the 5th line talks about your voice and being able to say your voice the way you are. And also, it's important to know that what we're teaching here is not a religion, even though the language is written in Hebrew. This Hebrew here and the Aramaic teachings go back all the way to Adam and Eve before any religion was created. Okay, so this is important to understand. It's also important to understand that Moses never intended a religion. Moses was using a transmission of these energy forces, and only later on, through the isms and through Christianity and through many other types of forms of constriction, religions were born. So it's important to understand that there was no such thing as a religion with Adam and Eve. It was just utterances of the ability to spell out, like Abrakadabra. You know, you wanted something that would happen instantaneously because you were able to use the right sequence of connection to the vibrations. And Abrakadabra is actually a Hebrew word. It means Abra, I will create, I will speak, Kedabra, like I will create, like I will speak. Right? It's actually a Hebrew word, right?
Abracadabra.
Yes, Abracadabra. So that I think that's important to understand that, you know, until even until 1,000 years after Moses, there was no such thing as a religion. It just created later on, man-made. Okay, so everything was universal teachings for different levels of consciousness. Okay, now the 5th line we said, see the big picture, and we're going to go to the 6th line, very important line here. And the 6th line works with, let's see if I can erase this. There you go. 6th line works with, yes.
You have to repeat that because you're cutting out a little bit.
Yesod means bonding or foundation. It's the seat that holds the funnel of the energy. In the physical body, it could mean the sacral and navel, the man's arena where all the energy of creativity and everything comes down, and in the woman, all the energy of receiving that seed and turning it into creativity. So it's a really powerful area, and it's presented by the great named Joseph, who Joseph was able to create one of the most powerful changes in the fabric of the universe by resisting, and he knew the secret of resisting and restriction. By resisting sleeping with the wife of the Pharaoh's assistant, he actually created the force of restriction through sexuality that made him one of the most powerful channels in the universe to be able to channel prosperity and sexual balancing. Okay.
That's fantastic. So, you know, I see you, right? And I have no idea if people see you because I don't see you. I have no idea what the display is on Zoom. So perhaps it can be a little bit more visible to the people. Thank you.
Oh, yeah. Maybe that's a good idea. Thank you for telling me that.
Yes. Are you still with us? So that was my little interruption, but you guys couldn't see him anymore. So I think that was necessary. And are you back, Shahin? There were just 2 last lines to go to understand this. And I think the simple version will be when I have it, when I can translate it, and you can see it and feel it for yourself, what these ancient words are really meaning. So for now, looks like we are alone here. And I can tell you this, I will never again do Zoom in my life. And this is gonna go public because this is Zoom and I have no idea what is happening with the Zoom. So for now, I hope this is not going to end like this. And we are going to have the chance to say at least goodbye with Shahin. And he will probably do the rest of the translation for us in the written form. And perhaps I can ask him also to record his voice. So you have, for those who would like to repeat this or use it as a prayer in the Hebrew, maybe the wisest thing would be to hear it on the MP3, so recorded version of it. And then I can somehow attach it on my website, or he can attach it on his website. I know that he's teaching this one time, once a week. He has his own students, and he's teaching different things. So I would like to still find out a little bit more about how they are connecting to the angels. Do they have specific code? How is it similar with our Catholics? Some of the people are Catholic, some of the people are Muslim. How is it connected? What are the connections here that are similar to every culture? And I also have this thought right now that anything else that it's not the same, that it is different, that perhaps it was corrupted in a history. So, for example, Mormons, they have this, they can have many wives or so. That's the more cultural thing than religious thing, I would say. I have no idea what is, how it is really. I hope Shahin will be with us just for the last moment. Is he still with us? Yes. Are you there?
Yes. Phone heated up. I don't know why, because we're sending it to so many different things like Dropbox and this and that.
Yeah.
So
I just said to everyone that I will never, ever again in my life do Zoom with anybody anymore because I have no control over this. And it just freaks me out to see you dropping in and out. But we also do pretty long recordings. So perhaps the best would be to do this translation and record your voice on MP3 so I can attach it and everybody can connect it, because you do teachings once a week or with your students, and if someone would like to follow that, I can also record more with you about this connecting with angelic things, or we can do something very simple, like you can read it through so everybody can hear the flow, how it sounds, and then the explanation comes.
yeah.
Would you like that?
Sure, I would do that.
Yeah. Can you just very quickly, I just hope you're not going to fall out again. Maybe not. Can you just read this last two lines in the Hebrew, how it sounds? Just let us hear the sound of it, you know?
The last two lines? Okay, sure.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll do that. That's great. So the last two lines, it basically goes to the Yachid Ge'eh Le'amecha Pnei Zochre Kedushatecha. And the theme of this is about Yud Gimel Lamed Pei Zayin Kuf, spreading spirituality through the world, enlightening others, particularly through this wisdom of Kabbalah. The reason we say Kabbalah is because it brings all the other teachings and knowledges and religions under one unifying whole, right? Because it predates religion. That's the reason. Otherwise, there would be no reason to just say, do it through this. You know, anything that can unify, then do it through that. So Kabbalah means acceptance of the full light force. Whatever gives you that, use that, you know. Mm-hmm. And the words for it is Yigal, Pazak, Yud Gimel Lamed, Pei Zayin Kuf. And the final line is Malchut, or manifestation, or the world of manifestation. Mm-hmm. And it is bringing it down, Shavatenu Kabel, Ushmatsa katenu yodea ta'alumot. And here we're asking the light, connecting with the light, and seeking to be truly heard through the voice of our soul, and to be to our screaming in the world of root chakra, or the world of Malchut, the world of physicality, where we're pulled towards so many directions in the world of gravity. And we have such a hard time connecting to the light of our soul, or becoming aware of the light of our soul that is already there. We're asking the light to hear these screaming that we're doing, that wanting to stay connected, and reveal to us all the secrets, and most importantly, admitting that no matter how smart we are, how much tricks we know, how much Kabbalah we understand, how much other forms of teachings we know, we still need the deep prayer and connection to the light to come out successful from the force of the gravitational pull of Earth that pulls us down towards comfort-seeking, laziness, jealousy, anger, shame, guilt, hiding. So we really need the help of the light to pull us through. And that stands for Shin, Kuf, Vav, Tzadik, Yutet, the power to manifest things in the right way, renewal, and restoration. And that completes this unique meditative prayer.
So are you praying like that daily? Are you saying those words with intention? Are you recommending?
These words are, for me, these words are like living all the time. They're on my wall. They're in my books. I've written about them. All my books have these 7 zones involved. Every book of mine, from all the 40 books and teachings and the books and the films that I created, all have 7 chapters, 7 zones connected with these 7 lines. It's really part of, definitely become a fabric of my being. I'm always practicing it to grow more into it, because it gets deeper and deeper. It seems simple at the beginning, and then you see more and more into it. But absolutely, it's one of those things that I strive to bring more and more into my life. And, you know, I really believe taking, it's kind of like 7 habits of highly effective people, taking 7 simple things and practicing those values lifetime, rather than coming up with new ones all the time. You know, like, you know, because we can go deeper and deeper and deeper. And as human beings, we change so much through time. So if we can stand on those principles of life, then we can continue to have a flag where we can see our inner truth and come back to it daily.
All right. I think, Shahin, we are going to end at that point. And if you stayed with us to very end, because it's like a full lecture. So if you stay, please comment that you stayed till the end. I'm very curious who's going to stay till the very end, because this is actually this powerful teaching. It's maybe not easy to understand. Like, I had some challenge, you know, to go through that. I wanted to remember, I wanted to repeat that, but then I would stop you. I would stop you much more than before. So I didn't. I just let you go through it. So please let me know. Let us know. What do you think about it? Do you come to some sort of understanding about your path life through this? How does it relate to you, to your life? Whatever experience you had with that, I would love to hear that. And for the rest and the translation, I hope it's gonna be there. I don't know if my translator can do all that, but we will try. I will send her, and we'll see how it's gonna go. So thank you for today. Thank you for sharing with us. And you are going to push that magic button, because I have no idea what the display comes on Zoom. So I just hope
awesome.
It's much.
Thank you so much, Joanna, for creating this lovely atmosphere for us to share this wisdom, and for this wonderful night. I will complete this session tonight, and happy holidays with love and blessings. My name is once again Shahin Jedian, author of 42 books and films, and I'm here to help you with your soul code discovery. Blessings.
Yes, blessing to all of you. And sometimes I call